Dan, thank you. We have a 7 News exclusive today. We're honored to have the governor of South Carolina with us here in the studio. Henry McMaster joining us to talk about the state response to the pandemic, the big challenges that South Carolina faces as a result of this virus that has come in and attacked our people here in South Carolina, Governor. Let's talk a little bit about how you feel you're doing with this response.
I think we're doing very well. We've learned a lot of lessons from watching other states, other programs, other plans, other innovations, and we went into it not with the idea of closing down as much as we could, but closing down as little as we had to. So we used a light touch as we went into it, and we've tried to get out of that and keep things open and let the people work, because a part of the health of South Carolina is not only our physical health, but our economic health. And if you don't have people working and going to work and building their careers, then your whole society is going to fail. So, and that brings us to the schools. We got to get those schools open. And we announced today $10 million from the CARES Act, the coronavirus fund that is given to me to use for different things connected with the virus, and we will put $10 million. We asked all the school districts through the superintendent, Molly Spearman, to tell us what they needed in terms of protective equipment, physical protective equipment, and they told us it's $10 million worth, and we are going to provide that protective equipment to them, personal protective equipment.
I know you feel like you're doing obviously the best job you can, but the people were polled in that Quinnipiac poll that came out last week, and only 49% of people are approving of you and your efforts at this moment. How does that make? Does that surprise you that it is as low as that?
No, we haven't seen anything like this before. There are a lot of people doing a lot worse than that around the country. So I think we're doing fine, and it's because we got a lot of good leadership. Right in Greenville, you have great leadership. Knox White, the mayor, whom I've known and worked with for years, doing a splendid job. The city council, the county council. We were at Bob Jones University Monday, with Dr. Pettit. They're opening up a brand new health profession department of Bob Jones University.
That's right.
We've got a lot of talented people in our state. And if we can keep them as safe as we can without interfering with their lives, then we can work our way through this, and that's what we're trying to do. We shut down the economy, not in South Carolina, because when you shut that down, you shut everything down, and that's everybody's life, their livelihoods, and a lot of businesses can never come back. They can't hold their breath but just so long. So we want them to breathe and flourish. Yes,
sir. The numbers started to go up once the beaches and things started to open back up again.
They did.
And they really went up dramatically.
That's right.
I know you're given projections. Did the projections you were given about what to expect as those moves were made match what happened, or was it more than you expected?
I think they were about the same. The epidemiologists and the health professionals all around the country they don't all agree with each other, much less with all the rest of us, with the parents and the teachers and the businesses and a lot of the schools and other interests. We had our Accelerate SC group put together, business leaders and others from all the professions and health and otherwise. And we knew that the numbers would go up when we started opening back up, but you just can't keep a business closed. You can't lock people up. You just can't do it, because a part of our public health is our economic health. And if we're not working, if we don't have jobs, then there's just, at some point, money coming from the federal government, which we'll all have to pay back one day, this borrowed money, as you know, that the money just won't keep a business alive. Once it's dead, it's gone. And you got people who work 20, 30, 40 years to build a business. We have to let them flourish. That's the best way. We don't want to measure success by how many people are getting government money, but how many people don't need it. And that's what we're trying to do here. And I think that the results that we're getting show that we're taking the right steps.
What do you think will happen projection-wise? I know you've been given numbers to deal with the school estimations of what you decided to do here. You pushed for 5-day-a-week education.
Right.
What are the numbers projected to go up to with school restarting?
I don't know that anybody has any numbers on that anywhere in the country. But we know that the young children, this is under high school age, maybe under middle school. The younger, the less chance is, according to the experts, that they will contract the virus, and if they do, there's a less chance that they'll get sick and less chance that they'll spread it. So that the young children are in a category, a little different category, particularly from people up in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. Those are the ones that are really susceptible. So our approach is to get the children back in the schools. It's important not only for their education, it's important for their social health, their mental health, and those parents. There are a lot of parents, both parents work or single family parents. There's no place for those children to go. They're going to have to choose. If they can't go back to school, they're going to have to choose between their own job or their children's education, and it's tough.
We have the situation in Georgia right now where 1,000 roughly people are being quarantined. They've just gotten underway there at one school, for example. So as that plays out for families, it becomes very hard for parents to manage. Like, what do they do? Well,
one district, I think, well, in Tennessee, I think we're waiting to see what's happened in some other places, but I think as Tennessee have had the opposite result. Now, there are numbers coming in. Sometimes it's hard to get the right numbers, but if those things happen, then we'll react. But we know that the best place, everybody agrees, the best place for those children to be, if we can get them there, is in school. And that's why what I was urging all the districts to do is let that be the first choice. Let the parents make the decision. If they want to send their children back, then open that school up 5 days a week. If they want to do it virtually, then let them do that. But give them the choice of coming back to school 5 days a week. I think all the private schools in the state, every one of them, is planning to open up 5 days a week face-to-face. We'll see how all of this works, and if it works well, then we'll know that things are getting better. One
of the top issues that viewers came onto Facebook and talked about with us is nursing homes. Isolated, they say isolation's killing their relatives. What can you do, or what will be done soon with that?
Soon. We hope this week, perhaps next week, but soon we'll have a plan that will address that. We've been working on this. We knew this was going to happen. Isolation doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help children. It doesn't help people that are in nursing homes and those kind of places, and it certainly doesn't help the families that haven't been allowed to see them except in the end-of-life situations. It is a tragic, sad thing, but we also know that the hospitals are concerned that if the nursing homes are opened up and an outbreak happens, it may overflow the capacity of the hospital. The hospitals have been enormously helpful and cooperative, and we never asked them to do anything. We recommended that they reduce those elective surgeries, if you can call them that, and they did it. They've gone back up, and we're working closely with them. But this nursing home situation is one that I can assure everyone, this is something that we've got our full attention, and we're going to do the best we can to solve that, to make it better for everybody.
So you think this week we'll hear something on this?
Yeah, this week or early next week.
And new rapid testing machines, I hear that's critical for nursing homes and also for maybe the schools.
Well, in the first place, the federal government, the Trump administration is making a big effort to get those 15-minute testing machines. They're about the size of a toaster, out to all the nursing homes in the country. We've been talking to them about that. We have just a handful of them here so far. We want to get them for all the nursing homes. We want to get them all over the place, because some of these tests, the DHEC tests, you can get results in 12 to 24 hours, sometimes a little longer. Some of the private labs are so overrun with testing requests that it takes sometimes 5 or 6 days. Yeah. 5 or 6 days after you get tested, you could be sick all over again, and you know, so the test is almost not as good as one that you get 15 minutes. But we're working on that. We hope to be able to have some news soon.
The state newspaper had an article this weekend saying, through email, revealing that potentially Linda Bell, the state epidemiologist, felt your staff was manipulative and holding her back, kind of muzzling her from telling the people what they needed to know about wearing masks and other things to protect South Carolina. Do you feel like your staff is manipulating her or holding her back?
We've had vigorous debates with all of the folks involved in this, from the retailers, from the manufacturers, to the epidemiologists, to the medical doctors, to the hospital people, to the teachers. Everyone has a different view. And our team try to hear everyone out out, take all the advice. We don't always agree on everything, but at the end, we got to make a decision. And one thing that I know is that we cannot keep businesses shut down. We cannot keep people locked up. It's for all the reasons that you just mentioned. It's unhealthy for the seniors, for the young children, suicide rates, domestic violence. A lot of times, the only way that the authorities learn that a child is being abused or somehow neglected is by going to school, because the teachers report that, or the nurse reports that. We cannot shut everything down. That is always a question. How much can we do? And my approach has been, and it's the approach of Accelerate SC, which had people from all over the state giving their opinions, is to go in as light as we have to. Don't go any deeper than necessary in shutting down, and then come out as deliberately as we went in and opened back up, and that's what we're doing. And we've gotten to the point now, if people, we need to be open. We must be open for business, for socializing, for everything in between. And football, we got to have football. We have
I was about to ask that.
All these things.
Ben Hoover wants to know, Carolina Clemson, is it happening?
I sure hope so. I'll be there.
He would like to see that happen.
And we've had conversations with Dr. Clements at Andavo Sweeney at Clemson, and Bob Castlin University, and others as well. And for football or other big gatherings, those were the things that we were lifted all the restrictions off of the last ones we did. And that is, if they have more than 250 people, then send in your plan for what you want to do to the Department of Commerce that's working with DHEC. And if the plan meets the various qualifications, then they're good to go. And I'm confident that we've got enough talent at our colleges, schools, universities to come up with good plans that will accomplish both things. We've got to let these athletes play. It's very important to them, their families, their scholarships. It's important to the schools. It's important to all of us. And one way that we're known around the world is by the excellence of our athletes. For instance, the Clemson football championships and Carolina Lady Gamecocks winning. People all over the world know about that.
The responsibility lies with the Department of Commerce to approve that with advisement from DHEC. If DHEC says no and Commerce says yes, who wins?
Well, those are the kind of conversations that they have. But they have a set of priorities, a set of things. The business or the activity that wants to open has to send in a written plan answering certain questions. And the forms, what's a good answer and a bad answer have all been studied by and set forth by at the Department of Commerce, and they'll make the decision.
When it comes to some of the facilities around the state, we did an investigation on the Witten Center. It's an intermediate care facility. They deal with intellectually disabled adults and some people that have medical issues as well. And they found, DHEC found, that there have been violations there with putting positive patients in with negative patients, other issues with the way the facility's been run. Do you have confidence in the way the Witten Center is being run? They now have 11 people dead, over 200 people infected there.
I don't know the details of what you're referring to, but I know we've had some, every situation where we lose someone or have high infections and serious illness are stressful and unfortunate and sad and in many cases tragic, and we need to avoid that. But that's why we need to get those testing machines. We're running short of staff members in a lot of the hospitals. A lot of the people working at the nursing homes are sick and they can't come back in. But I'm confident if we keep on the path, the slow but steady, deliberate path, using the best information we get from all sources and then making the right decision, I think our state's going to come out of it as well or better than any of the others in the country.
Governor Henry McMaster joining us on Carolina's Family at 4. Thanks for taking our questions and dealing with some of the issues, including the nursing home issue that so many viewers are concerned about. We appreciate it.
We're very concerned. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir.